Hey, Conscious Casey here, talking about triggers today. Being triggered, like having something in our experience, a person, a place, a situation that causes an emotional spike and it causes us to lose our shit. It emotionally hijacks us, and we have this big reaction about it physically, mentally, emotionally. Maybe it sends us back into a spiral of old memories, or, it doesn't have to be that big, but, it could be little, but it's definitely something that is triggered from the past. And it's also might be triggered on repeat, like a pattern. Okay. This used to happen to me with like people that like showed me animosity in my city, strangers. I felt like I needed to like stand up for myself or pick a fight with them or they would pick a fight with me. Like this happens more often than it should in my city actually. That's just one example. Or like when my wife would change plans after we'd planned something very long, I would have this emotional reaction like, "What do you mean we're changing plans? What? No." Like, anyways, those are just really, like, simple and benign, but some triggers are from severe trauma. I know, a lot of people that have that, and I had it as well, about 5 years ago, when I went through a really tough time in my life. So, speaking of that, when I came out of that really dark period of my life, it was the 2021, I had 2 resolves, and one was, I'm not gonna let the outside affect my inner world anymore, my insides, what I think, how I feel. I'm not gonna let the outside affect that anymore. The second one is I'm going to learn to handle everything without substances, distractions, or needing anybody else. I'm going to be responsible for my own stuff. I'm going to be, autonomous. I didn't even know what that word meant. Autonomous. I'm going to be taking care of myself. I am the source of my happiness. I am the source of my misery as well. And I'm going to take care of myself without anybody else, without any substances, without like needing outside influences to make me feel okay. And that was the beginning of emotional freedom. Not every trigger is trauma related, but every trigger is a teachable moment. When we get triggered, it's an opportunity to work on ourselves, and it's an opportunity to say, why am I triggered? What about this situation am I relating to from my past? Maybe something comes up that hasn't been processed or dealt with, you know? And I'm not a counselor or a therapist or anything, so I would suggest working with those kind of professionals if you need to go deep on that with like some childhood things, or yeah, any kind of serious trauma that comes up around triggers. Definitely seek professional help. I seeked professional help when I came out of my dark period of time. I went to a therapist every week for 2 years. I had severe PTSD. Me and my wife had broke up after 20 years, and I didn't see my kids for a while, and I gave up on life. I was super depressed, super had a lot of anxiety. I didn't know how to fix the problems. I didn't know what was going on with me. I was having emotional breakdowns. And yeah, I coming out of that, that's what really started my spiritual awakening, is trying to be okay with myself. And now an everyday practice for me is being okay with myself. It's actually my number one priority. Can you make somebody else be okay? Can somebody else make you be okay? You might say yes, but who is responsible for you to be okay? You. And who's responsible for them to be okay? Them. Of course, we help and encourage, and support to a point, but we're all responsible for our own path. And that's one part of my recovery from codependency that I really had to work on, It's like I'm not responsible for anybody else's happiness. I'm responsible for my own happiness. I'm responsible for my own attitude as well. So I stay aware of those things about my attitude and about putting too much effort into making somebody else feel okay, even if they don't even want to feel okay. Sometimes people don't want to feel okay, so you got to work on that. So, really, this is about building resilience. And apart from the super deep inner work that needs to be done for some people, most people, inner child work, shadow work, parts work are these phrases that you might want to look up in Google, or I can have some videos on it later because I've done all of them. This is the work. That is the work, is to go deep into the things that pain us, that cause us hurt, that really hurt our feelings, and or we weren't old enough or mature enough, or just weren't capable of handling a situation. Like, that's the deep inner work. And I highly recommend to do that if you want to live a clean, satisfied, happy life. Like, those things haunt you. They can haunt you for a while, a long time. So a little bit less intense are little bit minor triggers, and the way we build resilience through those is to handle them. So that means being fully resourced. And when I say resourced, means you have ways of handling things that trigger you. One is your breath. Your breath is powerful. Your breath is always with you. You can take your breath wherever you go. You can, and you can use it by learning different breathing techniques, like 4-7-8 breath. In for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8. There's box breathing. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. Inhale, hold, exhale, hold. You can do that on your own breath counts. You don't have to do the 4-4-4-4. You could do as you don't even have to count. Just do that pattern. Inhale, hold, exhale, hold. The only way out is through. The only way out of the triggers is to go through why you're getting triggered. So this is another part, is self-inquiry, writing things down, and asking yourself, why do I feel triggered? You might say, because they're like this, because that happened out there, because that's this. And the technique is to go inward. Why am I triggered from that? What is it inside of me that causes this emotional spike and this reaction when something outside me happens? That can get deep, and usually you have to say, "But why? But why? But why?" Because it's on the surface, our ego does not want us to go there. Our ego is like, our ego wants to stay safe and comfortable and protected, and that's why we haven't ego and defense mechanisms in our psyche. So it is a little tough to go past that, but I highly encourage that you go past that. All this is for is if you want to be untriggerable, which is really sums up my two resolves, is I want to be untriggerable. When I see people today, like when I'm at a meeting or I'm at the store or something, and you just get that irritation right away from them. You just look at them and you're like, ugh. I have to, my practice is to soften around that. Soften, recognize it. I'm judging, I'm prejudicing, I'm I don't really know why I don't like this person, but I'm going to investigate it. And then, like, the next level is, can I just love this person anyways? They have gone through things in their life. They have experienced pain and adverse experiences in their life, and they are how they are because of the things that have happened to them? Can I show them grace? Can I show them love? Can I show them forgiveness? And then turn it around on me. What is it about me that doesn't like that person? This isn't a rule, but it is a saying. If you spot it, you got it. So that person that's controlling and they're annoying me, or they're triggering me and saying, and I'm like, don't tell me what to do, and I have this a reaction or something. What is it about it? Is it because my dad always did that to me? Is it because I had that teacher that would always come over to me and force me to do weird things that I didn't want to do, like with my homework? Like, okay, do number five. No, write it this way. No, write it that way. No, do this. Casey doesn't know what he's doing. Like some embarrassing moment in grade school. Is that why I'm being triggered? And then another technique is to reparent yourself about that and talk to that. Hey, Casey, I know in third grade when Miss Shovel, embarrassed you in front of the class and made you write all those things on the board, and you vowed to never be told by anybody how to do anything again like that. Hey, it's okay. It wasn't your fault. She should have been a little nicer to you. You're still a good person. I'm kind of making that up a little bit, but it's it's about talking to that younger person, and have I cried lots of tears doing that? Yes, lots of tears. Talk to my 5-year-old Casey, my 6-year-old Casey, my 7-year-old Casey, my 8-year-old Casey. I know what he went through back then, and I can reparent him from who I am today as an adult, as a mature adult with a lot of compassion and love. So that's another way. And you can, if you want to get more in depth on that, there's lots of YouTube videos out there. Teal Swan is a YouTuber and spiritual leader that definitely has a lot of inner child, shadow, and parts work. Dick Schwartz, he wrote a book about parts work. There's No Bad Parts, or I think it's just No Bad Parts. Amazing book about talking to yourself about different creator characters that you are inside of you. Anyways, I'm not going to go deep into that, but maybe for another video. I want to talk about living the practice, and living in real life, about being less triggered all the time, and working through these things. I already talked about breath. The other thing is a presence, and just being present in the moment and being aware when the story starts. Oh, just a judgment about somebody, about something, it gets this story running, and then all of a sudden emotions are rising up, and now you're yelling at somebody and you're reacting. Just stopping it at the beginning is a great technique. Just say, I don't think like that anymore. That's a good mantra. I don't think like that anymore, or allow it to come up and then go away, because that's how thoughts are. They come and they go. A big, huge, monumental step is to start meditating if you're not already meditating every day. If you need to start with 3 minutes, set a timer on your watch or, on something on your microwave, and sit in silence, just watching thoughts come and go and focusing on your breath. And then when your mind wanders, you bring it back to your breath and you just keep doing that. It helps slow the thoughts down, and it makes you more aware of what's going on inside of you. You can see emotions rise, and you can be like, oh, I see you, anger. I see you, sadness. I see you, anxiety, and I'm okay. And you can start using your own mantras, and I guarantee it goes away. Everything rises and falls. Everything comes and goes. Nothing sticks around. Nothing. It's called impermanence. So that's another technique. So this is a way of life. If you want to become triggerless, this is a practice to be working on all the time. I actually go to places sometimes where I know I'm going to be triggered, or when I find myself trying to avoid something, a situation, a place, a this is only after a lot of practice and being ready to go into these places. For instance, my family gatherings. Uh, there was one a couple months ago. Would I have gone to that 4 years ago, 3 years ago, after I was coming out of that dark period? No. I avoided it for a very long time until I was okay with myself. And that's okay. You take time to take care of yourself, number one. And then now, a couple months ago, I went to the family thing, and there was some things there that definitely would have set me off and triggered me, and I was like, they can be how they are, and I can be who I am, and I don't have to meet their expectations. I don't have to take on their judgments or what they say about me. I can just be who I am. And that's what this is about, is being secure with yourself and being okay and being able to handle life as it is. Comment below, like, what are some things that trigger you? Or maybe you're working on these things as well and you want to be free from, booby traps all over the place, landmines, can't go here, can't go there, can't go to that person's house, can't go over to that store, you know, um, and also it allows you to tolerate other people, not if they're being abusive or anything, but just if they're, you know, if they're triggering you, if they're annoying, but you like the group or you like the community setting or something, it allows you to continue to be in that setting, and also it grows your strength with setting boundaries with people and speaking truth to people. Like, hey, it's not really cool when you do that. It really upsets. You can speak your truth then. Okay. Well, that's all I have to share today. Good luck on your journey of being untriggerable. If you want to work with me or you need to contact me in any way, I'd love to hear from you. My info's in the description box. Conscious Casey. Namaste. And focus on your breath.